Broke just meaning not having access to cash. Okay. Because here's what you're going to do. Here's what I recommend you do. Once you get your dependable income established and your bills are being paid and everything is solid, now you're looking at building wealth and surplus, etc. Right? So now what you want to do is you want to put that surplus in other sacred savings accounts. That's what I call them, in savings accounts for investment purposes only and at a later date. So a lot of people say, well, you should save for a car and save for this and save for that and say, I have and this part really I could take another week on this subject, but when I'm talking about your surplus, if you need a car, then you need a car. You don't need a Mercedes. You just need a car, okay? So then you look at your budget and you see what you can afford in your budget, and that's a part of your whole dependable income stream that you have, right? Because you need transportation to get to work. This is in addition to when you start making that surplus money. The surplus money should not be put in with the rest of your money and to pay bills with. That's what a lot of network marketers do. That's what I found. Okay, that's what they do. Instead of taking that money and putting it in what I call a savings account for an investment opportunity down the road. That's why when investment opportunities come and you need 5,000 or 15,000 or 10,000 to invest in a particular vehicle, and you're solid that it's a great deal, you can't do it because you don't have the cash flow. Okay. So you want to begin to start putting those savings in an account, because if you don't do it, guys, and you let it sit around, you're eventually going to blow it. You know that's going to happen. And when you live like you don't have access to that cash flow, and you shouldn't, it keeps you on your grind. It keeps you in offense. It keeps you producing new revenue. And so that's the posture you want to stay in, rather than just spending it and having to grind to make even more money because you're spending it, right? All right, step 6, save to invest versus buying things, right? When you're saving to invest, or you versus saving for an emergency, let's talk about this. You're putting money into an account for future investments. Here's what I've come to see, being around millionaires and etc. They are making what I call big boy deals, and there have been a lot of times where I wish I couldn't have gotten in on a deal, but the reason why I couldn't do it was because I didn't have the level of cash flow that they had. But had I used better wisdom, and that's why I love doing these classes, because I don't mind sharing the mistakes that I've made. I'm glad God is, in his grace and mercy has allowed me to learn those things. I can teach it to other people, and I can now begin to build, because God told me that my latter days would be better than my former days, and I hold him to his word. And so I know that's to be true. But what I want to share with you is that when you have a surplus of cash and you have confidence in an investment, then you rest. There's no stress. You're not worried about it. You've educated yourself. Let's say it's real estate. You've educated yourself. You've been watching the market, and you're watching the movers and the shakers of the market. So this deal comes up, and it's $100,000, but over the last 5 years or so, you've stashed away about $200,000 or $300,000. So you have the cash flow to be able to get in on that deal. And sometimes you can, there's good debt and bad debt. You can also take debt and go in on some of those deals. But this is just another way of being able to take a look at building wealth, guys. Step 7, let's get into having multiple flows of income. This one I really like because, we only really complain when we have one stream. Why is that? Because if that stream is drying up, or it's up and down, you're going to be concerned, because that's the only one that you have. And that's why we talk about, I believe it's Ecclesiastes 11:1. If you read that in the Good News Translation Bible, it talks about having multiple streams, because you never know which one is going to go bad, And so people get stressed out. They get challenged because they only have that one stream. I heard this before and it just stuck with me. It says, poor people replace income streams where the wealthy adds income. Now, I refer to them as streams, income flows. But isn't that interesting that poor people replace them? That's their mindset. And the wealthy adds to them. They will have 15, 20, 80, 100 income streams, right? That all goes back to mindset. So let's talk about these different income flows. So if you move to the second income flow, prior to stabilizing the first, you're gonna have a problem. You want to make sure that that first flow is stable, like I mentioned earlier, and make sure that the flow works both ways. Um, let's say you have a network marketing business. Like I said, that network marketing business should be able to support what you're already doing. Like I said, providing income for those gap times, and then that stable income should be able to support you in building your business. I heard this terminology is called symbiotic flow. Symbiotic flow means when you start picking up another income stream, it's similar to what you're already doing. So let's just say for me, I'll use myself as an example. I've been doing IT consulting, project management for 20 plus years. I could easily start my own consulting firm and start contracting my own stuff out. In my industry, the billable hours are a lot more than working for full time for someone. Of course, I could potentially pay for my own, health benefits and all of that, but the money outweighs it like 10 to 1 to what I could be making as a private consultant versus working, as an employee. So I'm staying in my flow. I'm staying in my own lane, if you would. Okay. If I tried to go and do something totally opposite, and I'm trying to think of something I could do. I don't even know right now. I'm trying to think out loud. But something totally outside of consulting. Because consulting, it has a flow to it. I'm going to have to put that on the shelf to do this one over here because this one has a totally different flow. For me to do private consulting, I really could be working a full-time job doing that and then turn around and consulting with pastors all over the world, doing workshops for them and this and that. That's in my flow. That's in my flow. Okay. So hopefully you get that. You want a bank. Okay. Where did I stop here? Increase your income, then add. Okay. So basically what we're talking about here is increasing the income streams, increasing the flow, but making sure that they have they're seamless, that they run along the same path. It'll make it a lot easier for you to run multiple streams. I'm always amazed when I see people trying to do multiple streams and it's such a struggle for them. And I realize because they're doing something totally opposite over here, but then over here, and then they'll say, I'm not really good with talking with people. I'm like, okay, I know you're not sitting around at that office all day not talking to anybody at the office. What you're saying is you're not necessarily used to promoting yourself, your business, etc. Well, you know what? To be in the wealthy flow, you're going to either be selling a product or selling a service. End of story. It's just, a job will never make you wealthy. So then I tell people, if they tell me that and they have a problem with that, I say, well, the first thing you need to do is you need to work on your personal development. Okay. So with everything that I'm saying, a lot of this is going to require commitment. It's going to require discipline. We're going to increase our income. And then we're going to add to our income by adding second symbiotic flows of income, expanding on that thing that I'm already doing. Okay, like I said, I'm already doing it. We're going to bank all the additional money so that one day we can make investments. We're going to know what we're investing in until it's not a gamble or a risk, but a sure thing as much as it can be. Okay, the investment this is part I was getting at. This investment that you saved up for should create new flows of new wealth for you, which will allow you to make new investments that will create more passive flows of income while never taking your attention off of the earlier ones. Here's what you don't want to do. You have to have that stream of income where your family is not negatively impacted because you've taken your eyes off or you've let it go. Don't let that job go until you've built something that is so substantial that it's just taken off and it's exploding and it has now become your dependable income. Okay? And then, guys, number 8, repeat, reinforce, and bring some hyper focus to this. You want to think bigger, get focused, and repeat the previous steps. I will say this, and this is just from my experience, and some of you will probably agree with me. It will cost you time and resources, yes. But it will cost you friends, associates, social gatherings. There'll be some things that you won't be able to do because you're focused on building wealth. This takes time. Okay? It takes time. And so, but pay the price because it is absolutely worth it. All right? So I'm going to end our session right here. That's our training. I'm going to go ahead and put, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those questions in the chat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop share because this is your homework. Next week, we're going to be talking about budgeting. Okay. But we're not going to be talking about really how to do a budget. We're going to really dig deep and see why our budget isn't working. And I'm going to send you a template tonight so you have a week to get it done. And I'm going to go over it with you in just a second. So I want you to complete that budget template. I'm going to do maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes of teaching. If you have any questions about that budget, we're going to go into some conversation about it. And that will be it, guys. So go ahead. I'm going to switch. Let me come out of here. Stop the share, and then I'm going to go. Let me stop this recording right here.